becomes increasingly interconnected, it is never been more important than now to educate ourselves about human rights laws and the challenges we face to uphold them. From environmental injustices to children's rights, these issues need our attention and action. Today's guest has dedicated her career to shedding light on these critical topics and empowering others to make a difference. I'm your host, Thando Mazibuko, and this is In Her Words, Waking Conversations by Women. It is a privilege to welcome Ntombizodwa Msane to the show. Welcome, Ntombizodwa.
Thank you. Hi, Thando, and hi to your listeners. So honored and privileged to be here. Looking forward to the conversation, really.
I'm also looking forward to it. So, Ntombi, could you tell us a bit about your professional background and how you got into it?
All right. I'll start with the humble beginnings and the progressiveness of it. So I studied law, did my diploma at the University of Johannesburg, did paralegal studies, did that part-time, and I still was kind of finding myself of what exactly do I want to do beyond that. But I always knew law and the sphere of human rights is where I'd end up. So I dived deeper into, I graduated my diploma. After graduating, I had to figure out, what's next? So I registered for my LLB, and then I started looking for, part-time work, because I did it with UNISA as well. So, and I wanted to figure out, so how do I navigate, getting the experience from the diploma I studied. So how do I take that into the workplace, and how do I navigate that aspect in that sphere so I can get that work-based experience? I looked for a job, I couldn't find it, and I started doing like community work and engaging with a lot of young people. Started seeing like a lot of other young people still trying to figure out what they want to do. Some were just, standing around at, like townships, how they are. So there'd be like young people at the car wash, and there'd be others in the corners, and there's nothing progressively looking like ambition and passion, but it seems like we're just waiting for something to happen, but we don't know what that is. And so I started just speaking to some of them, started engaging with them, like, what are you guys doing? What are your intentions? Like, what are you going to do? Like, what's the next step? Because I'm trying to figure it out. What are you doing? Are you trying to figure it out too? So I started speaking with them and realized that a lot of young people don't know a lot of information that does not come to them because maybe they're not looking for it. And so they're not privy to it. And I started working with others to kind of get them information. I'm like, no, you could go to the TVET college. You don't necessarily have to have, money. You could get your bursaries. You could do this and go and study into whatever profession you want to do. Started doing that. Unemployed, still looking for work with my diploma, studying my LLB through the University of South Africa. And I was still navigating that. And then I went and discovered during a community meeting this aspect of waste management. I was like, oh, what's this? And I was like, this is fascinating. As I started discovering, what is this aspect of waste management? And this guy was presenting recycling like it's such a big movement, like, yay, you're making money. I was like, I started doing my research as I always do. I did research, looked into it. I was like, this is interesting. But going deeper into it is not as easy as it seems. Like, it's a billion-dollar industry. There's different forms of waste that you can actually manage, and there's different stages to it. And so I started doing recycling. I started doing recycling because I was like, I'm determined. I'm going to do this. Still figuring this life thing out. Started doing recycling. Started teaching people in the community, what do? You should recycle. You should separate your waste. This is PET. This is HDPE. Like, I was just teaching people. And then I ended up at the municipality, at the department that deals with waste and environment. And then I just walked in and I was like, hi, I'm still learning. I'm doing research. I'm interested in, recycling and these different avenues. How do I get in? Do you have programs? Do you have activities within the department? How do you educate communities? How can I help? So that's how it started. I just went in, I volunteered myself, and then they started giving me administrative work. So I won't say I'm the greatest, but I'm really good at admin. So I did research for them. I did admin, did a lot of these avenues of, community development, community outreach. And I was doing this for free. So I was volunteering. I was coming in. I did it once a week, and then I started doing more frequently. And then suggestion on the table from one of the colleagues was, why don't you create a forum? I was like, okay, I could do that. Then I created a forum, a waste management forum, and then we collaborated through my company that I owned with my sister, which is TNZ Msane Mogul Entertainment at the time. And we then ventured into community work. We were educating people, same thing I was doing, but now it was more at a local municipality level. And then we were traveling around the 109 villages and teaching people, bringing people together, telling them about waste management, and creating an actual forum. And we're telling them, okay, this is what we intend to do. This is how it's going to work. We're going to get you training. We're going to get you equipment, but we need to, organize ourselves. And that's what we did. We organized ourselves. We became a forum. And after we became a forum, I became a chairperson for 2 consecutive periods, and we did trainings for them, like we did business management training. We were educating them about, okay, how do you use the waste that you are actually recycling as a model for your business? How do you become a cooperative? How do you move from that aspect and, make it a full-fledged self-sustaining business wherein you can now start to see how you can employ others. And then for those that couldn't read and write, we did vocational training where we wanted to teach them how to do plastic bags and how to create shoes and hats. Those plastic shoes and bags. Yeah. There was a period where it was really big. Yes. So we wanted to teach them how do you use your skills basically to kind of navigate through life. You don't have to just read and write. And then we also identified the areas of there are people who are undocumented in the country, even back then. I'm talking about something that was like 10 years back. And now we're looking at, how do we move from this space to the next? And then I was like, okay, we dealt with local municipalities. We worked with corporates, I think Petco at the time, and we were dealing with different organizations that just deal with the fundamental community development issues. And we were educating people. It was really nice. However, it ended not so great. So this is part of me just sharing my life experiences, right? So at some point, there's great and not such great moments, but it's all part of life lessons, right? So then I ended up in a Northwest Youth in Waste Management program. I won't mention the company or anything. I ended up becoming a supervisor in that particular program at the municipality. Now, remember, I still have the programs that I'm doing with the municipality on a individual level. And now I'm forming part of this program that deals with fundamentally the same things I was doing, but different. Now we are more focused on how they were trying to equip the municipality, particularly the department, with how do you manage waste, how do you work at the how do you monitor and see if services are delivered. And so I was just the supervisor for those 3 spheres, which was waste management, campaigning and education, and then as well as at the landfill site, how does it function, how do you manage it, and all of that. It was really interesting because I was learning and growing. I had no intentions of going that deep into waste, but I ended up there. And I came, and then at some point, the other part of the obviously, if you're doing too many things, one suffers. So yes, so now I'm full-fledged in this one because now I'm getting paid a stipend, and I'm now committed to the stipend. And the people that I have now committed and I've brought to this forum and this idea and this movement, they're like, okay, Zodwa, what needs to happen? What are we doing? So I was like, okay, we need to choose new members. Let us still continue with navigating our intentions. So they still got trolleys, they got waste picker equipment, they got the training, and so they were still fully fledged independent in the industry. So we connected them with the actual companies, instead of only them dealing with the middleman because they didn't get the necessary amount of money that would sustain them as now as they've become cooperatives. So they needed to go from, okay, if you were doing 1 ton, you need to go to 20 ton if you're going to deal directly with the companies that actually need the materials that you are recycling. So that's where we were and navigated that. And then for some reason, life happens, and then it became a little complicated where at my employment, they started seeing, like, I don't know, like, when I look back, I can't just it down to what exactly happened, but I can say that people are people. Some people will like what you're doing, some people won't like what you're doing. Some people will be jealous, some people will be envious, some people will just say, okay, whatever reason motivates them to do whatever it is that they do against you, it motivates them at the time. So what happened was I ended up getting into trouble on this side for firstly other activities that allegedly I was doing. So because I was in the community working, so they're saying I'm divided, and then some of the work that I'm doing this side doesn't complement this side, and what am I doing? Now they started looking into the forum. Okay, what is this forum really about? I think the other challenge is that I had 2 bosses, right? And I know I'm taking a bit long to kind of tell you my story, but I hope it's quite interesting. So
you're answering almost all the questions I have just by speaking. I love a good yap session.
Oh my gosh, sorry.
No, you make my job so much easier. I love a yapper.
Sorry. Maybe I should just summarize. Oh gosh. So basically I had 2 bosses, one at the local municipality, the other who brought the program to the municipality. Now the challenge is I every day walk in and see physically the one at the municipality, but I have to report to the one that is not there, that pays me. So again, I think I was learning quite a lot of things about myself. Firstly, I'm in a leadership role. I'm leading these programs. I'm leading other people who some are older than me. I'm in my 20s. I'm still trying to figure out, okay, what am I doing? I studied law. I'm now here in waste and environment. You know what?
Yeah.
So I started like seeing and realizing that sometimes you can't please everyone. And you are going to end up getting stuck somewhere.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting in trouble at the workplace where I get paid, which is the boss that's not physically around but pays me, because I'm doing things on the ground from a local municipality level with the one I see every day. And people are not understanding what is my modus operandi, like what motivates me, what is this, what am I doing? I'm all over the place. I'm doing so many things. Remember, I'm in my 20s, I'm energetic. I am able to kind of dip and dive in a lot of things, and I'm passionate about community, so it was easier for me to do that. And so I started getting it being investigated to, like, what is the forum about and whatever. And then I ended up realizing they started looking into the forum. How do I operate it? Firstly, I didn't get money for it. I was doing it, I was volunteering. Most of the work I've been doing, I don't get paid for it. So they looked into it to see if I was funneling funds from the municipality or something, like, hey girl, it was deep, very deep. Mind you,
you are helping the community and people, but people have agendas. Isn't that insane?
It is, but it's also reality. I'm just sharing, and hopefully it helps somebody who's listening to realize that these things do happen. Mind you, I'm on a learnership. I'm not fully employed. I get a stipend. I'm a supervisor, and I still have commitments outside of this job where I committed to the community, and I'm trying to navigate both of them. I ended up getting trouble for one. They started investigating the forum. Apparently the forum wasn't formally registered, meaning there were steps that needed to be taken, like it needed to go through council, and council need to adopt it and all of that. And then it just ended up like that. It ended, all the work that we were doing there, it ended, and the partnerships and all of that, we didn't take it anywhere. However, the other teams that were coming in who are now employed by the municipality ended up taking up, obviously, I just gave them the list of people I used to work with because I was like, look, they are there. Just work with them if you can. And they continued. So I don't know what ended up happening with them. I just explained the situation. And that was that. I got suspended because I was being investigated, right, for my involvement in the community. And then I ended up going back, and then they demoted me. They said I'm no longer a supervisor. I'm now just one of the employees. I'll become a campaign or something. I was like, it's cool beans. But the people who did all of this, who navigated all the, I'm not even telling you the cusp of everything that happened, but all the other shenanigans that happened in and around the situation, it was ridiculous. But I got through it. I learned a lot about myself. I learned you don't make friends at work. you go to work and you do what you're gonna do. And if you're in a leadership role, understand not everyone is your friend, and not everyone is there to kind of if you're going to be in leadership role, people are not going to like you, or not necessarily not like you, but they're not going to include you at the micro level things that are happening. So when I went down, I realized, oh, so you guys talk a lot. You do a lot of shenanigans down here when I'm in the office and I'm doing other things because I'm in a managerial role and you guys are here. So I got to see different aspects, and this is in my 20s. So I learned a lot. So what I learned from that, I took and I went back and I was like, okay, I'm still studying my law. I'm still navigating all of these things and still studying law. And I did that. And I went into moot court. I studied, I participated in a competition called moot court competition. It's like a hypothetical a simulation of a court proceedings. They give you a case study and you need to apply the rule of law to it and then present it before a judge. A panel of judges. So here we are pretending we are at the Constitutional Court and we are lawyers, we are advocates rather, and we're advocating for people. Easy stuff. I mean, well, not easy because it's hard. Yeah. You need to learn all these things. So we did that, the research, the preparation. I did all of that with an amazing individuals, Tate Mloto and Tate Mateja. I mean, I call them Tate now because they're older. But Tato and Tapelo, I did that with them. We were teams, and we ended up at the regionals. We were the top 2 teams, and I was the only woman at the top 2. And it was like nerves on 100. But it helped me develop into, okay, where do you want to go with this law things, Adwa? You learn a lot. Now you can apply it. You can argue before like a panel of judges. Even though this was a hypothetical situation, what are you going to use this? How are you going to use this? And then I completed my studies. I graduated, and then I started looking for articles. When I couldn't find articles, I started looking for advocacy. Like, how do I get into the chambers? And then I was like, COVID hit. I was still trying to, right? I was still trying to find placement, and I was still working at a municipality because now I moved from local to district. Now I was working in the air quality space, which is more scientific and more specific to monitoring and evaluation of licenses and regulations within the district municipality, where you look at how companies are actually complying to not polluting the air and their production not, polluting, whether it be water, waste, or anything around the environment. So that's where I ended up. And then when COVID hit, I lost a job because my contract couldn't get renewed. And then there were other issues at the district municipality at the time with the CFO, which I'm not going to get into. And now it's COVID. I'm sitting and I'm like, okay, so what are we going to do? We have all this knowledge. We have acquired all these things. We've been working with community. Now we're locked up. What do? I registered my company, which is African International Humanitarian Law Initiative. I wanted to see, how do I bring my passion and my love for people into the company that I have now? So I looked at, okay, what are the issues that we are fundamentally not dealing with? I did a lot of trainings. I did a lot of research, as it is just a normal thing for anyone who studied law, any academic, really. You research and you study. And so after doing that, I saw, okay, peace and security issues, something that we're really not diving deeper into from South African perspective. Humanitarian law, we really don't know much from a community base. They call us civilians, and combatants are soldiers. But from the civilian space, we know really a little about it. And I wanted to dive deeper into, like, why don't we know enough? And then I was like, okay, from what I've always known, human rights is not something that a lot of people are familiar with. They don't really know their basic human rights. They know of them, they know they exist, but they don't understand them. So how do we kind of navigate and bring all these things in together, right? And so I was like, okay, so how do you bring all this in one? And that's how Aile Legacy came into the part. So I created Aile Legacy out of the need for, firstly, mental health, because I was like, I'm not going to sit here and do nothing for I don't know how long. We are locked up and we need to do something constructive. So it became an e-learning initiative. We teach people about their basic human rights. We teach them about fundamentally how do you navigate from a governance perspective, stages to reaching local municipality leaders, decision makers. How do you get to be heard? How do you navigate that space? How, as a community leader, do you make decisions from an informed place instead of just, leading and trying and we are burning tires and we don't know. We need to fundamentally understand what is actually happening from the ground level and how do we change that. And so that's where I am now. Like, I'm in the space of mentoring and leadership. I teach a lot of people about, firstly, how do you get from step one to the next stages of your profession, whichever one you are, but particularly for those that are wanting to come into the human rights space. I teach them about, okay, where are you? How are you actually trying to get into the space? What are you doing proactively to do that? And how can you navigate that? And then we apply that throughout all the other mentorship programs, including, obviously, if you deal with individuals, they have different needs. So I've been talking, and there's a thing with me. So I know you said you love pass. So that's me, girl. I try to summarize it. I left quite a number of things up, but I summarized it for you.
I think that's a lot that you've been through career-wise, and you got doors open for you in such different ways, and you've navigated from one career of waste management, and then taking what you're studying and then fusing both into something that is really great and amazing. How is it that, I know that you speak that you're like, don't be friends with people at work, and your leadership style has now changed from, learning about being in a management position and then having to be demoted, when you just saw it as you're just doing your part in the community? How does your leadership style has changed through that to where you are now?
It has fundamentally changed in a way that, firstly, I now understand how to deal with people. I've dealt with so many individuals from where I'm actually working to where I'm in the community serving to where I'm part of the community and I'm now one of them. And then I get to go into these different hats, and then I stand as an individual advocating for people and their basic rights and teaching them and speaking up for them and all of this. And it made me realize that, okay, you need to read the room when you enter into any space and into any place. Instead of sort of being mute, try to see, okay, learn the place, learn the people, understand them, what makes them tick, what motivates them, what demotivates them. Don't be part of it just yet. That's what I do in any space. I don't form part of it yet. I just learn. I'm just giving myself time to kind of, okay, where am I? What am I doing here? How am I going to find my voice in this place, where you already find people who have affirmed their positions. Some are still navigating it. Some don't even like where they are. But here I am. I'm hearing all these different stories because people talk, right? They tell you things about anywhere you are if you just listen instead of always talking. they will tell you, okay, no, we don't like this place because they do this, that. That boss is like that. The other person will be like, no, this is such a great place. It's a great environment. There's spaces for growth. You can navigate here and there. And then for those that are actually in leadership roles, they will then give you a different perspective about leading. They'll tell you, okay, here we have this end goal. This is the money that we need to make. This is the challenges we've faced over an X amount of time. And we are trying to get ourselves from this point to that point. And with you here, this is where we'd like to see you and how we'd like to kind of help us get to the next step. Now, in summarizing that, I've learned that you need to listen, you need to adapt, you need to be somebody who's willing to learn and be teachable. But most importantly, with everything that you come into a space with, you also need to impart. Because I feel that sometimes people, they don't do this, don't do that. And then you become isolated. So just give yourself grace. Learn learn where you are, adapt, navigate, and then search yourself into it, basically.
You speak about, I think one thing I'm getting from you talking is how you have every step of your career has been about teaching. I think you have always been about empowering and teaching the community. That is fundamentally who you are, from what I'm hearing you speaking about, and where it is. And I'm at awe at how you have worked within the community. It's not every day where young people decide, you know what, like, let me go into the community and bring people up. Yes, you doing that and has had some challenges in it, but that's who you are, a teacher at core. And where does the teacher come from? Because yes, we are born and we learn, but where is Ntombizodwa coming from that made her this teacher that she is?
To be honest, I think I've just been taught to serve, right? And where that would come from is I don't personally like seeing people struggle, especially with something I know I am able to assist, or I know something that could help you get an answer to whatever it is that you're challenged or struggled with. It has also posed quite a challenge on me, because then if you overgive, sometimes people don't appreciate it, and then some people see it as just tell her do this, she'll take. Yes, just ignite that fire in her, and then she'll take it and she'll move. So I've had to learn, obviously, boundaries. I've had to learn, okay, no, you don't overgive, you don't overshare. You have to learn these things as you go, but it is progressive. And I think even in church, from the church space, you learn, obviously, I'm from Anglican, that's the foundation church at home. The parents are like priests there. And then but not always throughout my childhood, but as I was growing up, I went into this guild. It's called St. Lawrence. And in that particular guild, you learn to serve. You are assisting the priest, basically, and you're assisting everyone around you. So you are basically there to serve. And I think that was just something that was ignited and it was instilled. And even the decision to go to that space was based on, okay, I want to learn more about the church, not just be at church, but participate in it. So I think I've always had that thing of, don't just sit and be part of it, lead. And then where you lead, teach others to do the same. So even with the thought of touch one, change all, or it was that aspect of, if I am learning this, you can do it too. So don't just sit around. Challenge yourself, So I think that's where it started, because I started, and I always knew that with peers, these are some of the people that adults, I'd listen to what adults are saying about my peers, right? And these are people I know, I grew up with them. So I know some of the things that they're saying is not true of who they are because I've been there with them growing up. It's not always the same with every community, but I would listen to what adults are saying. Hey, oh, wenzani. Bono, hey, don't go there. Don't talk to blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, but I grew up with him. He's like from the block and I know him. And he's not like that when I engage with him. He's really very kind. He's respectful. And I realized that we as people, if we isolate ourselves, we isolate others and we judge them from don't speak to Thando, don't speak to Lerato because they're like this. But when you speak to Thando and you speak to Lerato and you realize she has her own challenges. She doesn't know how to get to the point one to be. And she can't speak to her parents because they don't understand her. So you coming from a point of, oh, I can relate to you, but here is other things that you should be looking into. That's where I think it came from. I think it's just innate. It's not something I learned. I think it's something that is in me to a certain extent, and I just do it naturally and without even thinking sometimes. So I just do it. Like if you say, I'm trying to do this, that, even without thinking, I'm like, I don't know, maybe try to do this, speak to whoever, I know whoever, let's do this. I can put you in touch with somebody, but then it's up to you. I learned, then I leave it there. I've sowed the seed. Now it's up to you, and I think that's where it came from. I think I've never been asked this question.
When you tweeted me, I was like, "Oh, that's a sister in Christ." Okay, I love that for us. I love that.
Yes, man. Yeah.
It shows that you're so grounded within your faith, within who you are, and that leads you. And that's such a wonderful thing because as you're saying that, with adults and communities, they look at our generation and they don't see those principles of faith and things that have led or we were supposed to support in us. And I think who you are, your organization, and everything you've done so far has been shown through that, your service, as the word you used, your service.
Yeah.
I did take a step back because I think it was important for you to share on who you are and where you come from. And yes, I had prepared questions and you just felt a bit awkward, but then I think the way you told it has been quite amazing. Maybe we can do a follow-up episode where you talk more about your organization and how people can...
Or talk less.
No, talk more about how people can get involved and learn about your organization. Because I know you're busy right now. I don't want to take up too much of your time, and I have an appointment as well. So I just want to thank you and for your time. And we need a part 2 because we're not done. We need a part 2.
Yes.
Any advice for our listeners? And the part 2 is coming soon. I'm going to set up timer. This is a busy woman. And final word.
Yes. So I think final words would be, don't be discouraged about lives and circumstances. Learn from what you are experiencing. It is not happening at you. It is happening to develop you. And I think sometimes we get stuck in circumstances and situations. So unlearn being stuck. Learn to use that as a propeller to kind of become the better version of yourself. If no one is willing to open the door, go out, create your own, or find a way to make it. And those are my last parting words. And I look forward to part 2.
I look forward to part 2. Thank you so much, Ntombi. Which one is it? Which one do you prefer, Ntombi or Zodwa?
Okay, I'll be honest. So, and I'm not throwing shade. I'm just being honest. Yeah. So, Zodwa has been like the name I've always been known with, like growing up. Yeah. But, and then Zodwa Bantu came into the picture. And then everybody, like, when you say Zodwa, like, I'm like, okay, guys, I have nothing against her. But when you say Zodwa, and it doesn't matter where you go, like, even in other parts of Africa, you're like, Zodwa, like, oh, because she is just that force of energy.
She is.
And I was like, okay, let me call myself
Let's rebrand.
professional
Okay.
So
Because I
that's
heard you say call yourself Zodwa. And I'm like, oh, okay, so Zodwa you prefer. And then you're like, okay. The other time when we were on the phone, you're like, Ntombi. I was like, okay. So I get it.
yeah.
Professional environment. Zodwa's for home.
Gotta navigate these things, right?
Thank you so much, Zodwa, for your time. Thank you for sharing. This has been an inspiring episode, and I can't wait for part 2.
Thank you so much, Thando. It has been an absolute pleasure. I think you also helped me to kind of reflect, which is something that I don't do publicly. I do it internally. So, yes, I hope it inspires a lot of people indeed. Looking forward to it.
Me too. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.